That's what you do. You buy these clothes that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on, with a smile on his face.
They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the truth. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first two episodes, the second series.
We are on the site of the castle,
and it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
Hiya everyone. I thought we weren't getting on there before, to be honest. I was doing something, I've seen nothing's happening. I wonder if, I was just saying, I wonder if something will happen and whatever, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to do tomorrow night, actually. I've got some names here. And I'm going to be drawing for this finally tomorrow. I'm going to read a few names actually. These are just random. If I've left anybody out, I will be looking on some of the programs that we've done. But I'll just read out. This is like, what you call it? At random. I'm just reading these names on top, and I couldn't see, I can't see. I can't believe it. Anyway, Steve Evans, the likes of Tony LFC. Neil Broderick. Ali Noose. Barry Aldridge, Paul Bear, Polo Mint, The King, Jeff Ellison, Callum, Nick Fadley, The Boss, Keith Reedy. Looks like Sparky did. Oh, Snapey. I can't read my own writing. Liam Molyneux. The Red Bird, Darryl Merry, Dorothy Langham, Anfield Raw. I can't see. This is very dark in here, You mightn't think so, but it is. Let's see if we can get it here. Christopher, Toscana, Edward, Simon LFC, IBR, Stella, Scottish Bear, Johan, George Shep, B. Brady, Yusuf, and I've got some in there as well. I've got some in there, the likes of Lynn Ellis, the likes of Abdul Rahim, as you know that, I have got them in there. So I've got other names. And what I'm going to do, look, there's the names. If you can see them. There's all the names there, right? And what I'm going to do is just cut them, fold them up, put them in a hat, one of my hats, give them a good shake, and just pull one out tomorrow night and just go, there's your winner. there's your minute. So, you know, it's good luck to you all tomorrow, but just join me tomorrow. And Taz is there as well. Sorry, Taz. It's terrible. Taz Reynolds, but he's on the other list that I've done. He's on the other list, you know, but it's in my living room. And I was, strangely enough, as I was writing the names out, I wrote a poem. And it's only about today, really. So I wrote this poem, and what I'll do, it's only in pencil, it's only scribbled down. Done about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of it. As I was writing your names down, you know, the names of the football lads. And I wrote this poem. So what I'll do, after the break, I'll bring it in, I'll read it out, see what you think of it. See what you think. And I've got Anthony with me tonight. You know, he never stops talking, Anthony, does he? Like, so I'll be bringing him in a minute to see what you are saying here. So, blimey, good job I put your names down there so we can see you there. Even in Frankie, it's Tony, good to see you. That's the mince pie man. The mince pie man. And Simon, even in Frank, hope you're doing well. Did you get your Bushmills whiskey at the weekend? Glad you enjoyed this, Michael Gambon. I loved that. And I was laughing, going, do you know what? I couldn't get the Bushmills, you know. I couldn't get it. So I said to Francine, I was specifically looking for that. There was none. There was only the big bottles, and I don't drink, you know. So I was going to get another one, and Francine said to me, Daddy, if that's been recommended, don't get another one, because there was a couple of other little ones there. So I didn't bother. So she said, I told you about the magnesia. So I said, okay, I'll get that now then. And she says, you've got to send it to Amazon. You just can't win. But I tell you what, I have been sleeping. It's just got. Yeah, I love that quote there, Simon. Thank you. There's Jazz. Big up, Frank, mate. Hope you're well today. You know, so. Amazed up that he's there here with me. Lynn Ellis. Hi, Frank. Hope you're there. Well, yeah, you know, getting there. And Simon says, what's the main topic tonight? These are characters that'll interest you. They'll interest you. They really will. Telling you now. Really interesting. Barry Elders, I put his name on as well. Besides Simon's, Lynn Ellis, Tony Ellis. Good job, wasn't it? All right, Frank, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Thank you, Barry. And the Simon says, how are we all, guys, tonight? Weather being kind to us. So looks like we have it for the rest of it. It's going to be very warm, isn't it? You know, by midweek. So I'll be able to, I don't know, sit out. I don't like going by the bench shed, you know. It's the only place I can get to. Are you doing, yeah, I am, Jazz. No problem with that. I've been talking to Jason, and we're going to try and set something up, you know, which will be more, especially for watch-alongs. So, yes, I'm doing more. Got to, haven't I? You know, I'm a red, you're a red, everybody else is a red, so it's just, you know, we do it differently from what you see other channels do. You know, other podcasts, that is. Guessing, reading from papers. know, reading from the internet. What we do, as you know, we like to see like what players are suited to Liverpool, what players are not suited to Liverpool, rather than, oh, look who we're getting and look who we're being linked with. We fell for that too many times. Oh, Josephine. Greetings, says my lovely friend from LA, the lovely Josephine. Hey, Joe, hope you've got over all that, because she, that lovely lady, was attacked, could have been killed by some unknown person, but they got the person, got it, and that's my friend, very good friend. She was so upset, she phoned me up. Frank, what can I do? I said, if I could walk, I'd be over. If I'd be well enough, I'd be on the next flight over to you, Joe. Shocking it is when you hear of these bloody things thousands of miles away. Thank you, Joe, and I think you have got over it a little, but I'll always be there with you. I do know that, but I know you're a fighter. You're a scouser, a very successful scouser, by the way. Scottish Frank, I hope you're well. Any ways on your move? No, I can't. Excuse me. Excuse me, Bear. Excuse me, everyone. What it is, I have to go along to this place, and I can't walk there. Excuse me. And I have to wait for Francine. Francine's put a car in today. God, I said, you better put that car in because it wasn't running right, if you know what I mean. So she said, okay, Dad. She put it in today, whether it's adjustable. So, but it will be this week. It will be this week, Scottish. It's good to see you as well on that. Excuse me, I'm awfully sorry about this. Every time I come in here, something happens. Every time. But anyway, this is fucking ridiculous, this. I'm awfully sorry about this. Really. But anyway, I'm giving up on this, you know. All I meant to say was it was great to see you the other day on on the two Americans, on the, those two lads. I like them, they're good. No BS from them, not like other channels. And I hadn't been on for months, and I went on, and they were just the same as they were like months ago. Nice lads, talking about Liverpool Football Club. And I even put a comment up, and they put it up. Then you football. Oh, it's great, that. Fantastic. It's lovely. And Simon says, Franco, I know you do the footy shows with Dino and George. Was any ex-players, come on sometime? Yeah, I'll get hold of my old mates. I'll get hold of them. And that's Jan Mulby. He's great, yeah. Lovely fella. And he actually likes me. I like some people. But he's a gentleman. Oh, Gary, your name's down as well. Evening, Frank, and everyone in chat. So don't forget, tomorrow night's going to be drawn. Steve Malala, my old mate. Hi, Frank. I just seen Jimmy Dore last night in the comment. Was he on last night? He wasn't on last night, surely. I wanted to go and see him. I thought it would be like later in the year. Oh, fucking hell. That's upset me, that. I wanted to see him. It's only along the road from me. The Comedy Club. My daughter appears on there. Because I watched Jimmy Dore and he says, you know, I'll be here and blah, blah, then, you know, Manchester and Liverpool. I thought it's later in the year. I know Matty Aaron's taken over his the show while he's away. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, I'm sick over it. Sick over that, Steve. Is he on again? Let me know if you're still with us, because you just flit off. Let me know if he's on again. Back in the day, says the bear, humans were throwing spears at it. Nowadays, the spears can travel thousands of miles, with big nuclear heads on the end of them. But there's a double meaning to that, though, isn't there? Right, try and get Sammy Lee. Sammy, yeah. I was talking to. Oh, I and I said, why is he there? I was at the Good Chains, a thing called the Good Chains. I said, why did you go to heaven? He said, it was my job. With Fat Sam. Scottish. It was good to see you on the other channel, Frank. It was Frank Carlyle, the legend. Yeah, I know, I've seen it. In capital letters as well. Capitals. Oh, Steve says, yeah, it was last night. How's it gone, you know? How's it gone? Is he on again? That's what I want to know. Gary says, people think it's easy being a stand-up, but don't forget you've got to write a show first with your own material, then have the bottle to perform it. Yeah. I think our Francine's got me as I'm the butt of her jokes, I think. So, above all, I would like to be remembered as a man who was selfless, who strove and worried so that others could share the glory. I love that quote from Shanks, sadly missing in today's bit. I'll do Frankie says that bit. I'm okay, honestly. I'll be bringing on my great matey, you know. And there he is. The one and only. This fella's a great fella, you know. He's a gentleman. Do you know when you talk about gentlemen? Honestly, you know, you say, and I've never heard anyone say a bad word about it. These are people who I know. And he's a sweetheart. You don't mind me calling him that. He is a sweetheart. There he is. Great painter. International painter. Anthony. Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Frank. Yeah, follow that. I'm on my best behaviour now, tell you what.
On the best behaviour. Sure. You're on your best behaviour every week. But isn't it great that, you know, we have these lads and girls on here,
Absolutely.
you know, commenting, and it really is. Even one of the lads there saying, what's the topic tonight? And, you know, the topic tonight, what I want to start off with, Anthony, is this. Now, it's this. I'll just put us up first. Right, I'll put that up.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best black granite, scalloped black granite towers.
Yeah.
And it was the entrance to the Mersey Tunnel, and it was a lamp. Art Deco at its best.
Beautiful.
Art Deco. And Herbert J. Rouse, he did the frontage of the tunnel, and it's been voted it has been for years now, one of the top 6 tunnel entrances in the world, as this particular thing. Now, I've always said about when it disappeared, they just took it away. I don't think they consulted anyone, and they just took it down, and it disappeared for years.
Yeah.
For years. I remember it because I lived around there, and I remember it just being there, and it was fabulous. It was black, it was gold, and there was a lamp on top. You know what's shown, fantastic. Anyway, years later, I get a phone call, and it was from a council yard, and some fella just said, "Listen," he said, "I hope you don't mind me ringing you." I said, "Yeah." I didn't know who it was. Someone giving me a number, and he said, "I want you to come up to this council yard because I have heard you talking about a certain thing, 2 certain things. One was the frieze on St. George's Hall, and the other is a big tunnel entrance lamp." I said, "Okay, yeah." So anyway, I made my way up there, got there, and I was looking at that in bits.
Wow.
It was in bits, Anthony, and I was going, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Where was it, Frank? Was this kind of still local?
Which,
The
where it was, you mean, broken up?
yeah.
Yeah, it was in St. Domingo Vale. A little council yard there by Notre Dame School, and the old school. And I went up. I couldn't believe what I was looking at, and I picked a piece up. Quite heavy, actually. Picked a piece up, big, like that. And I was like, he said, "You can take that if you want, because this will just be used as a hardcore."
Wow.
And I went, "No," I said, "I'll leave it." I said, I'll be back. And one of the regrets you have through life, that's one of the regrets, instead of taking it with me and home.
It was it granite?
Yeah, black granite, yeah. But now today, they're putting it back. It's a replica, obviously.
Yeah.
So they're going to build it. But I just hope that it's going to be exactly the same. I don't like replica things, you know what I mean? I really don't. And so I just hope that it's going to be the same height, exactly the same as Rouse designed it. Black granite, scalloped, rather than like cheap material or whatever, if you know what I mean. But it's going to go back. It's going back. Right where it was. Nothing got done. They took it away, and there was nothing done to the bloody thing.
No.
Nothing at all done to it.
No.
It was there for years until now, which is great. I'm absolutely delighted that it will go back, but it's got to be exactly the same.
Yeah,
Has to be.
Understand. I totally understand that. And it's crazy. It's like one hand's not talking to the other. So someone says, "Let's get that out," and someone else says, "Well, what are you going to put there in place, or what are you going to do with it?"
Yeah.
And obviously, the most important question, which seems to be overlooked all the time, is why?
Exactly.
Why are you taking it down? Why?
Exactly. I was asking the question for years. Why did they do? It's like I'll show you something later on as well. You know, after the break, um, a certain thing. You know, and again the question is why, and there's no answer to it. I've got one answer to one, like, but and that was pure unadulterated greed. Anyway, let's see what these lovely lads and girls up here say. Right, Tony, LFC. Hello, Anthony.
Oh, evening, Tony. Thank you
And
for
there's
that.
a couple of scotches for you.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. You knows us so well, Tony. And good evening, all. Sorry for my ignorance.
No, you know, they understand. You'll always say it anyway. And the Scottish player says, Frank, Robbo isn't the same player. However, it won't sit right if he goes. He's not got the sender he deserves. That will be set. Well, you know who his agent is, don't you? Scottish. You know who his agent is. He changed his agent to Trent's brother. So you know the score. Gary Rigby. Evening, Anthony. I submitted some of my own sketches to a sketching Facebook group. I hope they post them. Yeah?
I hope so. Yeah. Well done, Carrie. Well done. Yeah, I
It'd be
hope.
good. It'd be, if you can try and get them to us, Anthony and myself, you know, some way, some means, you know, to Jason, we could put them up as well, you know, Gary.
Yeah.
Can't we? And have a look at them.
Yeah.
Be interested and get the master's opinion.
There's only
The
one.
bear. Good evening, Anthony. I hope you're well.
Oh, good evening, Scottish. I am very well. I had a great day yesterday, drinking whiskey and reading books. And I saw Lynn's. Good evening, Lynn. I hope you're well. I'm good. Thank you.
The red bears. I'll be sad when Robbo goes. Unfortunately, his legs have gone. Yeah, and they have been for a couple of years. And you know, when's the original one comes out, Frank? He's talking about the. It came out. I don't know whether it was the late 50s or early 60s. I remember it as a kid. I think it was the early 60s. Just gone like that. There one day, gone the next. Gary. And Simon says, guys, no one best a legend, Dave Allen. My hero growing up. I am an Irish comedian with half a finger. No, I'm an Irish comedian with 9.5 fingers. He was.
He was great. He was brilliant. Yeah.
Very funny. Christopher. Hi, Frank and Anthony and Jason and everyone, says Christopher.
Good
Just
evening.
read your name out before, Christopher, because you're on the list and you're going in a hat tomorrow to see if you could win this program. It's going out tomorrow anyway. Gary says, I couldn't believe it when Littlewood's tower came down. Still upset about it. It's upset. Gary, there's no words. I've got no words for it. I really haven't about the centre of Littlewood's tower. It was an iconic building. It was a landmark. Now it's nothing.
I understood that they were kind of going to refurb it, but I haven't been past for a long time.
Do you know when it burnt down?
Yeah.
I was on a plane. Well, I was at John Lennon Airport waiting to go to Italy. I was going away for a couple of weeks. And I was coming to fuming over it. And I thought it was a joke, and this fella said, no, it's really burning down. He said, do you know anything about it?
No,
Said,
other than it seems to fit in the plan to develop a site, and if you can't do it legitimately, there's a beautiful pub over by where we live, by outside Camel Airs, which has been there forever, and for years, it struggled to keep open, and then it shut down, and then someone was supposed to be buying it, refurbing it, and the next thing, massive fire. So
Yeah.
at the moment, it's a shell. You'll see it when we'll bring you through one time. You'll see it. It's just a shell of a building.
Well, that's how to get rid of buildings and whatever, isn't it, really?
Yeah, obstacles.
Burn it down. Same as anything. Burn it. Burn it. But, you know, it's like the Collegiate up in Shore Street. You know, that was gutted. That was gutted. The Collegiate. And they wanted to pull it down. I thought it was harsh on myself, in all honesty. And I was saying to them, I said, don't you know the significance of that building? See, these people haven't a clue. They just see these buildings and they think they're in the way, or they're a carbuncle on the just having a clue. And he said, no, why, what is it, you know? I said, well, it's significant. I mentioned a few people, you know, who actually went there. The likes of, you know, one Everton captain, Brian LeBone. He was there. Billy Butler was there.
Legend.
Yeah. Rigsby, Leonard Rossiter, he went there.
Yeah.
And I said, and the architect, that was his first building. And his name was Harvey Lonsdale Elms. And the reply was, who's he? Who was he? I said, who was he? Well, just shook my head, you know what I mean? I said, have you heard of St. George's Hall? He said, yeah, of course. I said, well, he designed that.
That's him.
Exactly. Just, you know, these people. And it was like the Mansion House in Calderstones. They wanted to pull that down. The White Mansion House.
Yeah.
And again, I said, have you any idea the significance, the historical significance of that particular building?
Yeah.
They said, why? I said, it's the ancestral home of Sir Spencer Percival. Who's he? Who's he? I said, oh, I had to tell him who he was.
Yeah.
I said, he was the first and only British Prime Minister to be assassinated.
Yeah.
On the 11th of May, 1812.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me. I said, that's his ancestral home. That's all you get out of
Yeah.
Anyway, it was saved. That's all that I'm worried about. Simon, I was watching a bit of Dave Allen the other day, and he's still as funny as ever.
Yeah.
And Gary says, I've got you on Facebook, Frank, so I could inbox them to you. Do it. And the next time me and Anthony are on doing the history show, we'll have a look at that, Anthony?
That would be great, Gary. Yeah, if you do that, yeah. Send them through. We bounce them to Jason, then Jason does his magic and
Yeah.
then becomes part of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we'll have a look at it.
yeah.
We'll try and send you a link and have you on, so we can criticise you, beat you up, and
Well,
everything else.
yeah. It's not a word I like to use, criticize really, or even because
I'm only joking, you know.
no, I know, but it's just out there, and it's like, well, whatever we do, there's critics, whether you're a comic or whether you're a singer or a dancer or whatever, and the idea of art and all of that and comedy is that we're all individual people,
Yeah.
and we should not lose that individuality. You don't want to be like 150 other people, because you're you. So whatever it is.
Absolutely. It's like this fella here, isn't it? Hang on. It's like this fella.
Yes,
Audible,
absolutely. Yeah,
just like him.
just stunning. Yeah.
You know,
What year was that, Frank?
it was around, I'll tell you when they first went over. They went over in 1586 to America.
Liverpool.
And that was, it was with Sir Walter Raleigh. Well, Walter Raleigh never went. And he financed it. He financed it. And when they got there, they disappeared. These are the first Virginians to disappear. This fella didn't, because he was there. They came home, and then he came home with his drawings and paintings and whatever.
Yeah.
The others that stayed there, to make a community, they just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Wow.
The Lost Virginians. That's where they got to first. Wow. It's like William Bradford around 1620. He was exiled from here. Well, he was exiled before he was a Puritan, and he was exiled over to Holland, but the Dutch got fed up with him, and they threw him out. So he came back to England, and they said, "Do you want to go to the New World? It'll be like Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem to you." He said, "Yeah, all right." Him and his, these are the Foundling Fathers, known as the Foundling Fathers. So anyway, they got on a ship in Plymouth, 2 ships, and they sailed. And they were sailing to Virginia. That's where they were sailing to, Virginia. But they were blown off course. And they ended up in Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Wow.
And the following year, see, when they got there, Anthony, they just said, "Hallelujah, this is a godsend." I mean, they really thought God had sent them this patches of food. What I mean is, farm food.
Yeah.
The crops, everything. And even log cabins. So they really thought that it was absolutely wonderful. But it wasn't. It was the indigenous native, the Indian, and it was their crops. It was their homes.
Yeah.
So they got chased. The following year, in 1621, they had the very first Thanksgiving. That's what it was. That's where it stems from.
See, that's a sickening thought when you think of it.
Yeah, of course it is. And, William Bradford, he was the leader of these people. And that's where the Thanksgiving came from 1621. And they all celebrate it today. While the indigenous native is still living on reservations.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh,
But anyway, what do you think of that? They're fantastic, though, aren't they?
that is
Aren't they?
exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Years and years ago, I started taking interest in airbrush artwork, which came up big thing in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's the very, very finest quality, almost close to what those drawings are exceptional. They're beyond anything I've seen.
And there's the book there, the Audubon book.
Wow.
And going back to when I used to go in there with my students and whatever, it was worth 53 million quid. And I'll never forget it, never forget this. I was telling my students, I said, this is worth 53 million. And there was one of the fellas, in the uniform.
Yeah.
And he made a point of coming over to me. And he said, excuse me. He said, I've just heard it's not worth that much. I said, oh, isn't it? He said, no, it's not worth that much. It's worth, I think, I said, you've lost your argument. He said, right. I said, you think, so you're guessing. But one of the students got something up and said, that's what it's worth. And it was 53 million. And he went, oh, and just went back to his little corner, whatever.
And as you said, probably much more now.
Oh, yeah.
Because
But David Cameron, the first thing when he said he wanted, when he was Prime Minister, he wanted to have a museum in London. And he went back to the old medieval times when Middle Ages, when antiquaries belonging to the king went around the country taking artifacts from places and manuscripts. And he wanted to do the same. He wanted to take, the best of things. And he had his eyes set on the Audubon book. That thing there. He had his eyes set on that. And we turned around and told him where to go. He's no way again. I don't know whatever happened to that museum. I think that fell through because a lot of people are up and down the country were saying, you can tell them what they were saying, and it ends with off.
Yeah.
And Simon says, evening, Anthony, love your work. Like Franco, I learn a lot from you both. Fountain of knowledge. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Simon. That's very kind. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And Barry says, gents, is the Maritime Museum closed until 2028? Don't know.
Yeah, it's closed for a big while, Barry, but I wasn't sure when. I'd heard a bit which doesn't kind of make sense to me. Aside from the Maritime Museum is a beautiful building we continue to call the Granada TV Studios, which is the beautiful building opposite the pump house. Oh, that's gorgeous. But I believe that what's happening now is the Maritime Museum are kind of bridge the two buildings together, which I kind of like the separate beauty of that particular building. But we don't know. It's like the Tate building as well. It's closed at the cost of millions and millions of pounds for what?
Don't know. haven't a clue.
Yeah, me too.
Haven't a clue anymore, unfortunately. And I don't like. It's not like pulling buildings down, if you know what I mean. It's the likes of the White Mansion up in Calderstone, the
Yeah,
likes of the post office,
yeah,
wanting to pull that down.
yeah.
Pub, that is, people. Simon says, Franco Anthony, why was the original Cavern Club demolished? Oh, I understand it was for a railway loop, but so much history and nostalgia. Look,
Yeah.
it's
That's
pain. It pains me. It really pains me because all of a sudden it went, and what they made in its place was a little car park.
yeah,
A little car park. I think only about 4 cars would sit on it.
yeah,
And I knew the architect, David Backhouse. Knew him well, actually. Still know him well. I said, David, did you have any? He said, I never had anything to do with that. That would have been well built over because he designed, he was the architect of Cavern Walks. He said,
yeah.
no way. No way. I had nothing at all to do with that. It was just vandalism. I said, yeah.
So,
What did you think when you realised that they were demolishing it?
that history. Well, it's the strange thing is when you hit the beginning of the 1970s, because the Beatles had split up, that they were regarded as of no importance, and yet so much history was gone. People like Bob Wooler, who was the original Cavern DJ, was saying, "Don't do that. Don't knock it down. The history that's in there, not just the Beatles, but going way back to when it was a jazz club." And I when I was a youngster, I used to be when I was in the bands and stuff. I used to be an obnoxious drunk and stand on that site. And when all the tourists were saying, "Oh, look, this," I'm saying, "No, that's not. Here it is. It was here. You know, get your photograph here on this car park, because that's the cavern." And then
Unbelievable.
I ended up playing at when they opened that cavern, part of lots of bands. But I believe the great Tommy Smith was part of a kind of a
Consortium, yeah.
who kind of bought the rights to the new cavern.
That's right. Yeah, it's so right.
It's history.
It's so sad that the likes of the cavern, there was a terrible outcry over it. But again, you've got city planners.
Yeah.
They don't give a toss. And you know, most of the city planners are not from Liverpool, you know, so they don't give a toss.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just build.
Yeah.
They just build. One of the most photographed places of Liverpool was looking over by the Albert Dock over towards the Port of Liverpool, the Cunard building and the Live through that arch, massive arch.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was the most photographed of anywhere in Liverpool. And I'm not just talking about Liverpool people taking photographs. I'm talking about tourists when they used to come because they couldn't believe the view that it had looking through the arch over there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that view is completely and utterly wiped out I don't like those black buildings that are there.
Yeah.
Just don't like them whatsoever.
Yeah.
Don't like, and that the view is gone.
Yeah.
And that's someone said, why can't you take the thing, you photograph at a different angle? And again, you're telling people to be off at the end of what you want to say. No, not for me, these people.
It's a strange one, and you know that Lainey and I, on my work, was in the Black Building we were there for about 12 years, and it gave me a place to work. But I totally get what you're saying, and we used to take the trips when the kids were born, and we'd go to the Albert Dock and walk around, and I've got some cracking photos from the end of 2005 where there was nothing to spoil that view.
Yeah.
Not the new museum, not the black buildings. It was just, and there were ships on the river, tall ships, and it looked like 18 something, wonderful.
Well, that's it. Anyway, Simon says, Leonard Rossiter, did you know that Arthur Lowe, Sidney James, Eric Morecambe, and Tommy Cooper all died while performing in the pit?
Yeah, and you said James and Eric Morecambe did, but of course Tommy Cooper was on TV, wasn't he? Yeah.
That was live as well.
Yeah, it was, and everyone thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Which,
they just dragged him off, didn't they? Through the curtains. You just see his feet coming over, big feet. Yeah.
His feet were. Wow.
It's still funny, though, because people put them up on YouTube, little sketches.
Yeah.
So funny. So funny. I love anything like that. And Gary says, too shy to come on. I've been sketching for years since I was a little, but recently got back into it. Yeah. No, just send them through to me.
Brilliant.
I'll give them to Jason. Well, Jason will just get onto my thing and we'd sort it. So the next time we're on, if you send them through and we get them in time, we'll discuss them. Gary, if you're too shy to come on, I don't believe that for 1 minute, that you're too shy. But nevertheless, just send them through, and I won't be able to comment on them simply because he's the master there. He'll be able to, because I always remember this fella named Hardy, and he was a great, or he was supposedly the greatest art critic in London.
Yeah.
And anyway, there was a Liverpool artist, and he's going, oh yes, yeah. And then when he was told his name and where he came from, he said, no, anyone with a name like that couldn't paint like this. And I'm from the north. No, that's what he said.
Frank, that's still there. That is still there, and I despise it. I despise snobbery of any sort. But unfortunately, art and drama are where they infest, and they do infest it, believe me. Oh my God. These people who don't have any talent in any field buy their way into an art academy, and it's that classism which unearths every aspect of life, every occupation. And you've had it, being a historian, being a knowledgeable, absolutely top of your game. And it's still not enough for these people because they say,
No. And it's, do you know what it is as well? Especially with me, it's jealousy.
yeah, that's a big part of it.
And these are supposed friends.
And that's why they buy it, because you haven't got it.
Exactly, you know, and you just, you give up. It's brought it off the touchback. But anyway, Simon says, notable descendants of William Bradford, figures like Clint Eastwood, Julia Child, and William Rehnquist are among his descendants. Clint, he made from William Bradford. God, you're good, you are. You're good. Incredible.
We learn something every show.
Oh, he's great, isn't he? And Barry says, I got told it was being done up, but I don't know exactly what is being done. But thanks for that, fellas.
Yeah, that's at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most important part of Liverpool history. On the waterfront, that's how we made our name and that's how we made our money. Industry.
Gary says, yeah, demolished in 1973. The camp. Then it was an ollie,
Yeah.
an ollie for years, used as a car park right opposite Eric's.
Yeah. Ironic, isn't it?
Well, do you know the way like me and my mates used to dress? We used to wear crumbies, you know, but only of a winter and size.
Yeah.
And size crumby on. And anyway, we said, yeah, we could go down the cabaret. See what that's all about. We're only young lads.
Yeah.
So anyway, we goes down there. And we're at the the stairs that you go down, you know. So we're at the top, and like in the middle sort of thing. So we're all standing there, and honestly, this is genuine. The bands was coming in, whoever it was. We didn't knew who it was. And the next, this fucking drum came, you know, big bass drum come boom, boom. And it hit one of the lads on the fucking back of the head.
Oh,
Benny, yeah. It hit him on the back of the head, and he went, fucking like Danny. And then we grabbed hold of, we got sort of, well, it was him, like, was what's his fucking name? Dave Clark 5, Dave Clark. Grabbed hold of him, and he was fighting with him on the stairs. The bouncers come running up, dragged him in. And then we got lashed out. Couldn't come in. Bad out for them. We got bad out for them. These are troublemakers. Oh, shit, it's so funny. So funny. We didn't know Dave Clark 5, Dave Clark was, you know what I mean? But it was the Dave Clark 5 who was appearing on there.
Yeah.
Big drum come bouncing down. So funny. Barry says, it was in relation to my visit to Southampton a few weeks ago regarding my mother-in-law finding she had 3 half sisters via ancestry. Go away.
Yeah.
Go away. That's incredible, that. See what our little history show does. It's great. And Simon says, Franco Anthony, just reading some history on Liverpool landmarks past and present. I never knew until reading up on it that there was a Liverpool. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is.
And it could still have been there.
That stood by the Mersey. Yes. Yeah, I was I was with a group of people, well, students they were, and there was a couple of fellas over the way. In James Street, there was a couple of fellas standing over there, and they were looking at me with this group of people. So anyway, when we were crossing the roads, I was finishing off at the town hall. And anyway, we crossed over, and one of them approached me and said, "You're Frank, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, Frank, we're going down there, we're surveyors, and we're going down there." And I was wondering where he was pointing at. He said, "How would you like to go?" I said, "Oh, I can't, I'm with these people." And he said, "Well, we wait for you, how long will you finish?" I said, "I'll finish just after 4 o'clock. Now, I didn't know what he was talking about, honestly, because he was just pointing.
Yeah.
And he was like pointing at a building. He said, "We're going down there." So I said, "Yeah, all right," because anything like that, really interesting. So anyway, when I finished with the people, I came up Castle Street, and there they were standing waiting for me. And they said, "Come on, I'm going to show you something." It was incredible what they showed me. Now, that particular monument, Victoria's monument, was built, F.M. Simpson, in 1906. It opened up. Right, so they wanted a massive thing for, good Queen Victoria. So they did this monument. They knocked down St. George's Church in the meantime. And it was sad. But anyway, I went through this building, and then we went down these stairs. I said, where are we going? He said, "We're going to surprise you." And they opened this big iron door, and they had these arc lights. So when we went through the door, it was shut, clanking and everything. And we went through, and he said, "Yeah, look at this." And do you know what it was? The foundations of the castle.
Oh my!
Incredible! I went, and no cameras in those days, no phones, to take a photograph of it. But they had me as well, and they said, "Listen, we're going to do another thing. I'll tell you about it afterwards," which was, to me, unbelievable. They said, "Listen, we're going to do some surveying next week. Would you like to come with us?" So I said, "Yeah." So we'll let you know if our Jason's there after the break.
Here in Rumford Street, the Battle of the Atlantic was about to take place, and through these doors were the operations. And right in here was the nerve centre of operations. So follow me down into the bowels of the building. We have just come down 30 foot from street level, and nothing has changed. We have just gone right back to 1940, and I hope you've got your pass. World War II lasted a total of 2,075 days. The Battle of the Atlantic lasted for 2,073 of those days. It began on the first evening of World War II when the liner Athenia was sunk off the northwest coast of Ireland. Could you imagine the coordination the Commander-in-Chief had to deal with at the western approaches? Just have a look at these. This was the hub of operations for the Battle of the Atlantic. A young wren, Patricia Lane, fell to her deck from the ladder during operations, and her spirit is rumoured to still haunt the corridors. When Churchill came here, he used this total soundproof telephone booth when he was in deep conversation with President Roosevelt in Washington. He was also in constant contact with his war cabinet from here. This was no ordinary 9-to-5 job. Once you were here for the duration. And as you can see, they had the beds as well. About 330 convoys were attacked in the Atlantic by U-boats. 565 escorted ships and 234 stragglers were sunk. 1,100 ships proceeding independently were also sunk. 96,977 ships survived the crossing. This was the office of the Commander-in-Chief, Admiral Horton, and he dealt with all the top secret documentation here. His private room was specifically designed so he could keep his eye constantly on operations. Through the labyrinth of very small, dark corridors, all the codes were broken right down here. And through this door here, where it says strictly no admittance, was the Enigma machine. Even Churchill had to show his pass to get through here. Top secret codes of messages were transmitted from this room. It was such a sensitive area that the operator was locked in the room and an armed guard posted outside. The reality of the war on the surface was this. This is someone's house, devastated by the bombings of the Luftwaffe. But let's not forget that there was a war going on underground, a secret war.
Too bad. Do you know what? You're not going to believe this. Now, you know that I don't know what Jason's putting up. You know, at the break, I haven't a clue.
I told you it's telepathic.
Oh, blimey. Because those two surveyors, the next, when they said, you know, we bring it to her, I said, okay.
Yeah.
And it was there. And what I found there and where it went through was unbelievable from there, because, you know, they just never had one tunnel. After the war, the Cold War started, and then they, you know, like worrying about an atomic war, you know, whatever. And It was incredible what I seen, going along Tideburn Street, down Great Crossroads Street, crossing over towards the Mersey Tunnel, up J. William Brown Street, and looking up towards London Road, right up towards London Road. It was an underground city. An underground city. And when you think about, like, from the town hall right through, right along there, up, when you're looking up William Brown Street, what's in William Brown Street? You've got the museum, you've got the library, you've got the Walker Gallery. So all those are be coming in to this underground city in case of an atomic attack. Also, looking up London Road was the Tropical School of Medicine.
Yeah.
So you had all the doctors and nurses and everyone there, the scientists. Incredible. Absolutely amazing. A tunnel. It wasn't a tunnel like, the way we know tunnels. This was rectangle. White stone. Well, reflective stone. That is white. Incredible what I see. Incredible. That's why they had the arc lights.
Any photographic stuff?
No, I didn't know where it was going. No. But there was, and right over towards as well, what they were going to do, they had it was, I never seen it, but I was told that they had this massive thing, massive, full of tablets, water tablets, to make dirty water into fresh water, get rid of all the germs, so it'll be drinkable.
Oh.
But also what they had, do you know John West that was down the Dock Road?
Yeah.
They had all their tin stuff there. They had it. Don't know what happened to it. That was for survival after the, nuclear attack, well, atomic attack. Then it became a nuclear attack.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Now we're still on the precipice of a nuclear item, but you just can't make anything up anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and Gary says there is some brilliant footage of Liverpool in 1950 showing the cavern and the Dock Road, says Gary. Yeah. Seen loads of footage. Yeah. I remember it was a film. It's an old film, not black and white colour, and I forget who was in it. And it showed you. It wasn't there Susan Hayward. I forget it was some massive star, and it shows you the overhead railway. It's down by the pier there. It was filmed in Liverpool, this.
Yeah.
And you see the overhead railway.
Yeah.
And I think another star got on it, the film that on the overhead railway. Yeah. So it was made in the early 50s, mid 50s, before it was pulled down, obviously. Some of the things. And Toscana. Hey, Toscana. Tell Franco and everyone here, just managed to pop in. I'll listen to it from the beginning tomorrow, as it sounds very intimate, as always. I can see some comments about the cavern. Yeah. They were talking about it, so if you said, just fast forward until we get to the cavern. And Simon says, police arrested 2 kids yesterday. One was drinking battery acid. The other was eating fireworks. They had charged one and let the other one off. Tommy
Tommy Cooper. Sounds like our dear friend Ken Dodd as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Ken Dodd.
Brilliant, Simon.
Great, that. Thanks for that, Simon. Me and my dad, says Gary, were watching that Tommy Cooper show. They cut straight to an ad break. We knew something was wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all watched it, though, you know, like, it's the only things I watched in those days.
It was in the days when TV was good and Friday and Saturday nights.
And Toscana says, it's the original entrance to the cavern where it's indicated near Scylla's statue. It is, you know, you're right in it. Yeah, I've just got to say yeah to that. Just got to say yeah to that. No, it's not, is it? It's a bit further up. It's where the entrance to the Cavern Club is. That's the nearest thing.
Opposite that, yeah.
La. Yeah. Gary, Toscana, yes it is. You can find the photos online, by the way. By the ABBA rag graffiti was students' ragweed. Those students have got a lot to answer for the vandalism in our city. And that's coming from me, Lynn Ellis. Gary, I done that cavern tour a few years ago. The old cavern is still below ground. You enter via the new cavern and come out yards down the road by the Scylla statue. That's it. Even the cavern pub, you know, when you go below there, you can go through and you'll see like where the cavern, the original cavern was. But that's blocked off now, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like facing the cavern pub. Well, saying thanks to them. A group called the Kirby's were regulars at the cavern in the early 60s, but they couldn't get it right. Still unknown, but brilliant. Look up Jimmy Campbell.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it.
Yeah, Jimmy Campbell and yeah. Jerry, I've got a friend who was in the Kirby's, Jerry. Yeah.
And he's saying that they were brilliant.
They were brilliant. Yeah. There's lots of.
I remember the black group, the Chants.
The Chants, Joey Anchor and the boys, yeah, brilliant. And of course, our dear friend Billy Kinsley, the Mersey Beats and Fab. Yeah.
Billy.
I remember growing
up. He's always a great fella as well.
Yeah. He
said to me once, I believe you're a racist. I said, yeah. He just laughed. He knew what he was told, you know, the slave trade and that. And I was called a racist because I said no slaves landed. And he just laughed. He said, I believe you're a racist. Yeah.
I love Joe dearly. We've been friends for many years, but used to tell me some horrifying, just matter of fact stuff, that on a Saturday night, that certain pubs in town, that the colour of your skin determined if you could get in there or not. And this is in the 60s, Liverpool. And also, we We sat once outside a studio. I was working at the time, and I had a cup of tea. And he said, we couldn't have done this years ago because the police would have broken us up.
Yeah.
The white guy. What's
Yeah,
that?
true that. True. But it's all changed now, and anyway, I want to go on to this fella.
Right.
I'll just say hello. Good evening. Says Ali Noose. Good evening, Ali. Hope you're well. Hope you're well, mate. Really do. These are Romanian friends.
Yeah.
This is a lovely. Good evening, Frank, Anthony, and everyone.
Good evening, Karen.
Good evening, Carol. She's coming to see me on Wednesday, I think.
Oh.
Let me know, Carol. Let me know if you're still coming down to see me. I've got to take you off a minute. I'll get back to you, Simon, on that. I want to let this fella here. Sir James Chadwick. And to the contrary of what people believe, there was a thing called the Manhattan Project. And the Manhattan Project was the most secretive project in the annals of American history. And they said, we can't do it because they wouldn't allow anybody in this project. Nobody. So they said, listen, we've got to send for this fella. We have to send for him. And this fella was one of the greatest of all physicists. Messing around with neutrons and things at Liverpool University. And where he was messing around, after the workhouse in Brownlow Hill was knocked down, Liverpool University bought it because what they seen was below the old workhouse, where there was cellars, very strong cellars. And I'm not just talking about a cellar that you walk into, it's a small thing, I'm talking big things. And that's where they did the experiments with neutrons. So anyway, this is on the site of the Catholic Cathedral, right on the site of it. And do you know what? If you took a Geiger counter down there, you could still feel the cracking of radiation.
Wow.
It's been proved even today. So anyway, we'll have to send for this fella. Who is he? It's a fella named Chadwick. Get him over there. And Sir James Chadwick went over to America because the Manhattan Project was the making of the atomic bomb. The first of its kind of a weapon of mass destruction. So we went over, Sir James Chadwick, and it was he who split the atom, not Oppenheimer. Sir James Chadwick, that gentleman right there. But the Americans love to say that, oh yeah, we done all these things, yeah. Like everything else, they try to do.
Took the credit.
always do, unfortunately. They always take the credit for everything. It's like the Enigma machine that I mentioned before on that clip. Now, that particular clip and the Enigma machine, the Americans said that they made a film where you see them, grabbing the Enigma machine of the Germans. And it was a big flop because, it was historically inaccurate, totally inaccurate. In fact, a million times inaccurate, because it was the British who got the Enigma machine. But they always try to, we're great, we do everything. It's just like the Americans have got the same mentality as we're bigger than anyone. If we've got a big building in Liverpool, they've got a much bigger building, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
I've experienced that with them. I've experienced it. Oh, we've got a bigger one than that. Oh, we've got everything is bigger, and they've got it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Typical American before you, because as I said, the same mentality. What Trump came out with the other week and said, we won the war.
Yeah.
And we won a parade. Did you see their parade, by the way?
You can't avoid.
Wasn't that an embarrassment?
I tuned in when he was asleep, and there was a little girl sitting behind his shoulder, chewing the flag like it was, yeah. Oh,
It was so, and you see a soldier, and he's carrying a drone.
yeah.
They're carrying a drone.
I was still laughing when you were doing the warm up tonight, because Lainey would find another. Let's look at that one. Oh my God! We're talking about Dave Allen with Tommy Cooper, all of these legendary, beautiful, funny guys can't come as close as Bozo the Clown, who's running this United States of America.
No.
That guy's funny in a psychotic way.
It's just. Unless Simon says comedy should never be overanalyzed. It's either funny or it isn't. There's a subtle difference between those who say funny things and those who say things funny. The legend Ken Dodd.
Yeah, he was funny. He was great. So many stories about that legendary man. And I don't think there's anyone in Liverpool that has not laughed at or with him over the years. It was, I think I speak for the both of us, that it was an absolute sheer joy to be in his company.
Oh, we love Ken. And he paid me one of the greatest of all compliments.
Yeah.
One of the greatest of all compliments. This man.
Yeah.
So funny. So funny. I just, you get people who are naturally funny.
Yeah.
And you get people who are not funny but think they're funny. And I've seen loads of them.
Yeah. I think that's the disease of the modern age, really.
Yes.
When the likes of the BBC and stuff dumb down and fill hours and hours and hours of airtime with people who aren't remotely funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
look at that.
you go.
Carol. Defo coming to see you with cakes. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Carol.
What's wrong with good company and a cake?
Ah, yeah, she is great company. Is a lovely Carol. Honestly, she really is. And that's that there's most of today's funny isn't funny.
Totally bang on, Redbird. Yeah, it's not.
You're right. Absolutely spot on. How the hands of fate could have turned another way for Chadwick. He spent all of World War One interned in a German prison camp. If he hadn't survived, how different the world would be today. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. It's like when you get interned, he said he was interned. Yeah, Simon said, oh, Chadwick. What you get is the likes of a sculptor, which is in your domain of professionalism. And he sculpted a German called Carl Bernhard Bartels.
Yeah.
And he sculpted one of the greatest things, one of the greatest of all iconic things.
Yeah. And you could not imagine it not being in Liverpool.
Nope. Nope. And that was the Liver Bird that you see today. And he was actually put up on 1912. And this is how it went. This is through this. And it's like a Tommy Cooper sketch or a Dave Allen sketch or any other sketch. And he was incarcerated over in the Isle of Man as an alien, he were, even my family. So anyway, he was incarcerated. And don't forget, only a couple of years before, he sculpted these big birds and he put them on the Liver building, right? And young lads from Lanarkshire or somewhere, they were the guards of these aliens, if you know what I mean. Yeah. They were the guards. So I'm trying to get comfortable here, get comfy, Anyway, what had happened? He went over to one of the guards. He must have been that frustrated. This sculptor, if you know what I mean, that did a great job for Liverpool. Right, now, don't forget that these lads hadn't a clue who this fellow was. They were just seeing him as an alien, a German.
Yeah.
And most probably didn't know anything about Liverpool either. And he went so honestly and said, when the war is over, I will take my birds back home, Schwein. Yes, Schweins, I will take my birds back home. And they thought he was nuts. Because you could imagine him going to the set. Hey, Sat, see this fella he's talking about birds and he's taking them back home when the war's over. He was the first German to be repatriated back home.
Yeah, I know.
And not to get rid of him. That's genuine.
Not only that, was it that the Liverpool council at the time erased his name?
Yeah.
From everything because he didn't want the association.
I was down there in I was down there in 2012, because of the opening of the Liver Builder, and his family, his ancestors came over. They were there, the Bartles.
Yeah.
Really nice. Meeting these people at the time.
Yeah.
Fantastic, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's genuine. When the war is over, I will take my birds back home, Spain. You used to call them Spain. Spain. I want my birds back. You must have said after the war, I know you can keep them now, to want them back. Great. Great.
You could not imagine a time where the liver birds were not there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. It's the liver bit. See, what people have to understand as well, that it's not a cormorant. And it goes back. The original was King John's royal seal, which was the eagle of St. John. The saint, the eagle. And
Yeah.
it was his royal seal. So it was an eagle. And unfortunately, during the Civil War, when the parliamentarians retook the castle from the royalist in November 1644, they ran up to the wherever it was kept, town hall or whatever, and it was smashed up, the royal seal. So after the Civil War and the reinstatement of Charles II, the son of Charles I, we had a new monarchy reinstated.
Yeah.
And he said, we'll have to get the royal seal, the original royal seal back. They smashed it up. Then they asked if anyone was an engraver. And this fella must say, I can do that, no problem. And what he carved out looked more like a cormorant, but long legs.
Yeah. I think that was the plan, wasn't it? It was because it's regarded as something seaworthy as well as,
But it's the eagle of St. John.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That is just so iconic. And that is our man who could have well got back, took his birds with him.
Do you know who designed that, by the way?
Jason.
Amog. Yeah.
Jason. He is. He to tell you, he's right there. Yeah.
Yes, isn't he? He's messaged me there. He said, I've got to go out for 20 minutes. All right. I said, that would be all right. Just in case. He loves his history, though. He loves his history. What did he say there? Did I mention that? Anthony, I asked this question to Frank last week. Who is your 3 all-time heroes and villains?
Wow. They kind of change. Villains, there's too many to pick 3. Heroes, Leonardo da Vinci, John Lennon. And if I have to pick one, I like the fact that William Blake, because those 3 gentlemen opposed the straight thinking of a box. And Leonardo said the greatest thing that helped his art and his work was not going to academy. John Lennon, of course, was regarded as not worthy. And William Blake went there to the Royal Academy and said, I don't want to be part of 60 or 80 people all doing the same thing, because we're all different. Think outside the box.
Do you know who else you want to think of as well? You mentioned Blake. I love the three people you mentioned. I love. Really. You know, Da Vinci, Lennon, and Blake. Who you want to get in that category is John Keats. Because John Keats, because he wasn't one of these, hi, it's me, just like Blake. And I'm not saying he was ostracized, but, you know, he wasn't like in the elite sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yet I love Keats. I love his works.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And it's that thing of someone saying you'll amount to nothing, you're not worth anything. You know, and look, hundreds of years later, we're still talking about these gentlemen. And my villains, there's loads, but one of them would be Churchill.
Well, Churchill. Okay, now. Churchill. Toscana says to Gary, Italy, Oz, and the US, as well as friends in the UK. My Aussie mate is an actor and kept getting stopped and told he was the double of as the fella in Neighbours, and it was really him. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah.
You look like a double.
You get confused with that writer chap, don't you?
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Please do. Please do. It's for me as well. Hey, Frank, what about that? Can you tell? It's not him. Go and ask Carlyle. What we asking me? Please say. Brilliant. Is it true, says Simon, there was a local legend stating that if the liver birds were to fly away, the city of Liverpool would be doomed, often associated with a flood of the Mersey. Any true? Yeah, that's true. That it's one of these great myths.
Yeah,
it's one of these great myths.
The city would
fly away. There'd be no more city because that is the city.
Yeah,
the liver birds, Simon. So yeah, it's a good point there.
And we nearly didn't have them. Just
really
that close.
Could you imagine? And the vibes, oh, it's great. Do you know? I want to put this up.
Aha.
Oh, this fella. And that's Florence Maybrick. Florence Maybrick. I'm not going to do it tonight because it's too long. I hope you don't mind. And I'll do it on the next one. Is that okay? I won't do it. It's too long to do. So I'll do it the next one. I'll give it justice the next one. Because it's one of those things that it's very hard to get away from, if you know what I mean. So I'll be doing it when we come back.
Yeah.
When we come back.
But it's just something that's made much greater with the detail you were
Yes,
talking to me about. Yeah,
very much so.
yeah,
Very much so. Because it involves a lot of people.
yeah,
And I mean a lot of people it involves. Just shows you, doesn't it? You know, the way some people, I'm talking about writers, you know, they look at something and they get inspired by that particular thing. And that's what I want to talk about.
yeah.
I think we're having one on Thursday, History Show Thursday, this coming Thursday, if you're free. So I'll be having one there and we talk about this particular chap.
Absolutely.
Is that all right with you?
That's wonderful with me, Frank.
Now there's one of the greatest of all
Yeah,
lads. Now this lad, Noel Chavasse, was a remarkable surgeon in his own right. And he worked at the Liverpool Royal Southern Hospital, where he was saving lives. Saving lives. And when war broke out, he joined the Liverpool Scottish. He was the son of the second Anglican bishop, Francis Chavasse. And it was Francis Chavasse who started the ball rolling to get the Anglican cathedral built. And he was a twin. He was a twin, and he also had another brother. Two other brothers. And he had twin sisters and another sister. And every single one of them, except the sister who was married to a vicar and had children, was involved in the First World War. It was quite a remarkable family. Quite a remarkable family. And the likes of Noel Chavasse, V.C. Barr, was in his own right a remarkable man. And his best mate, believe it or not, and they used to play pranks on each other, was another war hero in the Liverpool Scottish. And people, you know, when I tell them, they go, go away. And he was a war hero. He was actually mentioned in dispatches. And instead of being awarded the Victoria Cross, he was awarded instead a military cross, which is just below the Victoria Cross. So you can imagine, couldn't you? You know, these soldiers who went to do the duty for king and country and everybody else associated, and to win one of those. Now, I know I mentioned about this man, and I'm not going to do him tonight because, again, there's too much to talk about. So, in 2 hours on Thursday, I'll be doing the first lot, what I mentioned, if you don't mind.
no, brilliant.
And I'll be doing them in the second half on Thursday evening.
Fantastic.
Because, you know, I don't want to rush these two very important, you know, they're not like tales that are easily said. These are stories. These are stories that should be said with precision, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And bringing in others.
Yeah.
You have to bring in others into the equation.
Yeah. That's respectful for.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to know the background of both. Both stories. You've got to know the background rather than just jumping in. It's like if you're ever talking about the First World War, people just start off and say, oh, well, in 1914, and during the August heat wave, everybody was enjoying themselves. The war broke out. But it goes back further. You've got a preamble. You've got to go back to the Franco-Prussian War.
Yeah.
You've got to go back to when Bismarck brought in the likes of Saxony and Prussia to make one big mighty Germany. You've got to go in and talk about the 1891 Schlieffen Plan, where he was going to draw in the British on French soil and take them out. Take the British and the French out and march east to take the Russians out. That was the big plan. That was the Schlieffen Plan. German. So you've got to preamble that rather than just going straight in. So you know a background.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as what I showed there a minute ago. These people, you've got to know a background. And if you don't know the background, you know what I mean? It's so easy to say, oh, do you see him? And there, and whatever.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the little information we were told as school children, and also the propaganda which is pasted over everything. So no, I'd look forward to that. I look forward to that.
Well, I get a feeling that people, should know at least a little bit of the background of events, that are going to occur, if you know.
Yeah.
It's no use just delving into anything. It really isn't. It's like watching say highlights of a football game, right?
Yeah.
And it's no use just putting like a fella running through and scoring a goal. You've got to see the build-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to see the build-up, and that's what I like doing, instead of just... It's all right talking about a building that's come down, like, if you know what I mean, like this, for example. Like this, it's like that building there. Let me highlight it. Mentioned this loads of times. It's like these two buildings here, one there and one there. And this is Shabas Park.
Yeah.
Shabas Park. Obviously, this is the Albert Dock. That's the Salt House Dock. Now, if you look carefully here, imagine today with the Albert Dock and Liverpool 1, which is here, because that's the site there of John Lewis department store. So this is all Liverpool. I was the historical consultant for them, for Liverpool 1.
Yeah.
And this particular building, just imagine that building there and that building there standing today. standing there today, these two buildings.
Would be amazing. Would be beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. And that's the unfortunate thing, to be honest, Anthony. Simply because this building was demolished because of greed. Because during the war, this dome here, an incendiary, right through the dome, landed, and it gutted 3/4 of it. And at the time, it wasn't a bomb, it was an incendiary device. And at the time, preservationists were saying, don't pull it down. Don't pull it. It'll be all right. Go in and turn it back up. You can't pull this down. It's one of the greatest buildings in the country, never mind Liverpool. No, in the world, he said. Never mind Liverpool. And I was pulling it down. But little did that the preservationists know that it was being pulled down to be sold to the Americans, because the Americans looked. And that was in 1948. But the Americans got fed up because they said, oh, this is taking too long, we don't want it now. But it was too late after it was gone. Shocking. They were selling it off. And this building here, see, this was built in this one here, John Foster Jr. was built in 1828, opened its doors in 1828. Lovely, beautiful building. And this particular building, the architect was John Cunningham. And this opened its doors in 1841. It wasn't touched by bombs or anything. He just pulled it down in 1974 and never built on the site. He just pulled it down for nothing. It was just gone for nothing. So you could imagine these two wonderful buildings opposite there and the wonderful strand down here. It's incredible, isn't it? So they're what you call vandals.
Yeah.
Greedy vandals as well. Gary Rigby says, St Kilda, I know well, they're talking to each other, and Toscana. Frank and Anthony, loving the content tonight. Cracking show, says Simon. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
And he says, duty called and called me to obey. That's what he said. Noel Shavas, good man, looking forward to your discussion. One of the bravest men in World War I. So sad that characters as him aren't educated in our schools today. So right there, Simon. Liverpool history doesn't get mentioned at all in education. I've been to schools. They've asked me to go along and talk. One of the funniest was St. Matthew's. When I walked in, the teacher said a little assembly, and they said we have a very prominent, or whatever it was, guest speaker, and I want you to all be on your best behaviour. So anyway, I walked in, and my grandson was at the school. He's a school at the time. It's my granddad.
No pressure.
No pressure. It's my granddad. Incredible. Brilliant. Lovely. Callum, I read your name out before. I want you to join us tomorrow night, Callum. I'm doing a football show. Your name is in the hat for that. Okay, that's how I'm going to do it. And Frank, will you do more truth and conspiracies with what's happening? Done it the other night. Yeah, I will do. I'll do a couple of conspiracies actually. Now, don't forget, have I got the right glass? Do you know what? I can't see. I'm going. My eyesight's going worse. I wonder if it's something to do with my bloody cataracts, haven't I? Toscana. Anthony, my dad's town in Lucca, Italy, has an exhibition of Leonardo da Vinci's models of his machines. Leonardo da Vinci's models of his machines.
Wow.
The city also houses the cartography and engineering projects. Whoa! I was lucky enough to see it years ago. Go away.
Amazing.
I've never been to Lucca,
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Go away. That's Puccini's city, I think. It says Puccini. I'll go there. Get fit enough. Definitely. I fancy going to see that, eh?
Oh,
The models of his machines.
that would be like going to a cathedral just to see it.
Yes. And Simon says, is it true that there was originally 4 liver birds? There was Bertie and Bella. If there was 4, did the other 2 ever get named? I always talk about them, to be honest, Simon. You see, there's 4 freestanding liver birds, 2 on the building itself, the liver building. And the other 2, see, one looks out to sea, looking after the sailors. The other one looks after the citizens. That's how they were put out. Looking after the sailors and looking after the citizens. But the other 2, one is just facing, and I have to show you it, to be honest. A building, it's on a building, and again, it's looking, this is by the liver building, and it's looking over the sea, just like the main liver bird. And then the other one is on another building in the city centre that overlooks the citizens. And that one is on the Walker Gallery. And as we were talking before, just bear with me a minute, 1 minute, please. I'll just remove that. Oh, lad. Now, there's the original crest of Liverpool, the eagle of St. John and King John. And what you see there is the laver stuck in its mouth, which is seaweed, and that's what we know today. So anyway, I've never seen that, before. But that's the original, was it? The Eagle of St. John and King John. That was the royal seal. And it was smashed up during the Civil War, which was sad. Get rid of things. But anyway, you've got us on there, the Mersey Chambers, that's what I'm talking. I heard the fort was on the original St. John's Market. Yeah. The original St. John's Market, that was the entrance. And they pulled that down. That was built in 1801 by John Foster Sr. Brilliant entrance, Roundley Street. Fantastic entrance, and they pulled it down. Sad. But that's our city planners for you. Can't keep anything, think they're in the way.
Well, it's kind of hard, as you said before, Frank. They're not Liverpool-born city planners, are they? Some of them may be in the office, whatever, but these are people who are jobs with.
Yeah.
Get off a bus, do their 6 months, go to another city.
I always remember a few people were complaining about those black buildings next to the Port of Liverpool building. And it was a fella from Warrington, the architect. He said, I'm not bothered what people in Liverpool say. Their complaints about the building. That's what he said. Not bothered about what the Liverpool people say. It's shocking.
It's interesting that as well. It's like anything really that you put up that's not been there before.
Yes.
Whether it be a play, an artwork, or whatever. It's the unknown, and it's the acceptance of people with the unknown, and most we do not like change. It's like when the Liver building went up. I believe that there was quite a
complaints, yeah,
feedback for that, wasn't it?
Yeah, you say, what do we want them up for? You're a big building. But yeah, that's right. And they went up. And, people think, like we had the May Blitz.
Yeah.
How come they weren't bombed? Well, they were a landmark for the German Luftwaffe to get back home. They were a landmark. They were told not to touch them. Yeah. They tried to bomb, if you think about it. Well, I'll have to go back to this. I'll finish on this. Just let me go back to this, please, Anthony. Right. Now, if you look at that map again, just bear with me on this. I'm just going to. Just bear with me, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Right. I can't go any further, but you'll be able to see what I mean. Now, the Luftwaffe, there's the town hall. Now, right on exchange flags here.
Yeah.
Right here was the Western approaches. These were the headquarters for the Battle of the Atlantic. Right?
Yeah.
Now, this is, as you know, Castle Street.
Yeah.
That's St. George's Church, but the monument's there now, right?
Yeah.
Victoria's one. And South Castle Street. And that's where the 5th Customs House is. Now, the Luftwaffe were trying to bomb, think about this, trying to bomb exchange flags, which was here. And unfortunately for them, they were getting it wrong. And they thought it was here. Now, don't forget, they were flying in the dark. So that they sent an incendiary down, bombing, and it went through there. So that was knocked down, albeit it could have easily have been saved. But that's what they were after, the Luftwaffe. Exchange flags and the Battle of the Atlantic. You see?
Yeah.
They never got it. If they would have got the Battle of the Atlantic headquarters, I think our town hall would have gone. That would have been it. Shame, innit?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to finish on that. Let's see. And he loves his Simon, doesn't he? The clock faces on the lava building are bigger than the ones on the clock tower of the Houses of Parliament, completed in 1859. Yes, they are. And the fellow who designed Big Ben was Welby Pugin. Not many people know that, but you know it now, Simon. Welby Pugin, one of the greatest architects in the world. And do you know what, Anthony? Do you know Welby Pugin, right? He came to Liverpool because when the Catholics were emancipated in 1830,
Yeah.
see, Catholic churches were built like that. So when they were emancipated, they could be built like that, because they had to be incognito. Flat roofs, right? So Welby Pugin was, he changed to Catholicism. He said there'd be loads of Catholics wanting churches built. So he ended up, you're not going to believe this, he designed 100 cathedrals.
Wow.
He designed hundreds of churches, right? And this is Welby Pugin. And he came to Liverpool because they sent for him. And St. Oswald's, he said, how do you want it, lads? Because he said, can you build us a church? Steep. And he said, do you want a steeple? Do you want a big steeple? And he went, yeah. Can you put him on it? Yeah. Oh, well, great. So anyway, he designed, St. Basil's, Oswald's, is the first church in Northern England Catholic church to have a steeple. That Welby Pugin did. And he built one down in Park Lane as well. Not Park Lane. I always get mixed up with this bloody place. But anyway, it's down the south. Is it Park Lane? Yeah, Park Lane. I think it's St. Peter and Paul. And that's what he built. There. Absolutely wonderful man. Great architect. And do you know how old he was when he died? 42.
How old?
42.
Wow.
He was in much demand, and he worked himself to early death, unfortunately.
Like Captain Johnny Walker.
Yeah, Captain Johnny Walker, yeah. Very much so, like Captain Johnny Walker. Early grave. And thoughts on Simon again, thoughts on Jean Laidlaw I found her role in the Western Approach's tactical unit was very much underestimated, and only after her death came to prominence. Like a lot of women,
Yeah.
like a lot of women, one of my great heroines. But you're right there about Laidlaw. One of my great heroines is Mary Wollstonecraft. And, you know, you're talking 1700s, you know, the latter part of the 18th century. And she wrote a book called The Rights of Women. She wanted women emancipated then, over 100 years before the suffrage movement, long before. She was an unbelievable woman. Love it. Love it. And she was the mother of Mary Shelley. And she died giving her birth, Mary Shelley. Incredible. And lovely Toscana. Grazie, Franco. Anthony and everyone on here. So much information on it. Absolutely brilliant. You're never too old to learn more and get. No, I've always said that. Anthony will tell you. Never
Yeah.
too old to learn.
Never stop learning. No, we
I
learn.
never stop learning.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah. Never stop learning.
But have you enjoyed it tonight, haven't you?
I really have, Frank. I really have. I mean, I have come across you, introduced me to some stuff I did not know, and I'll phone you up to chase a couple of names, or I watch the show back and I get them again. But yeah, no, I love, I love learning, and today we
But you
say,
know so much yourself, though, haven't you? As well, you know. And we love to say, you mentioned 3 people before.
yeah,
You mentioned William Blake,
yeah,
Da Vinci.
yeah,
You know, you, you can't get any better. You know, than the 3 you mentioned.
yeah,
Who I love, John Lennon.
yeah,
3 of them.
yeah,
And it's very hard to define just one hero, if you like. It
yeah.
is, you know, you can't just pick one out.
It
And say,
is. And we talk and we come across many people that we greatly admire, male, females, but to be kind of asked 1, 2, 3, there you go. They're kind of the same person in that I aspire to. Don't follow any rule book, because there are no rules for what's not known. You just set your compass and off you go. You know.
yep, simple as that. One of my great heroes is Nikola Tesla.
Yeah,
And he died penniless, alone, in a little dingy flat, 1-bedroom flat in New York.
yeah.
Nikola Tesla.
It's heartbreaking, Frank, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's George Orwell.
Oh,
He died in abject poverty, and
Barry's here, isn't
he'd been sick for a while, but he knew he had to just finish this book, to finish that book. No, do it. We do it. William.
Great. And Simon says, Frank, Anthony, thank you for another great show. And thank you, Frank, for taking the time to read my messages. Love the history shows and Anthony's invaluable wisdom. Have a good night. Take care, guys.
Simon, thank you. That's wonderful. And
Redbird. Another banger, Frank and Anthony, 100%. And look at all those.
bankers, yeah. Thank you, Redbird.
Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Imagine all the people living in a life of peace, and give peace a chance.
Yeah.
John.
The world is run by insane people for insane reasons.
Yes.
John.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And tomorrow, people, I've got all the names. I mentioned the names before.
The big
I'll be
draw.
putting them in a hat, and I'll be drawing them out for that tomorrow night. And with that, we know started to get itchy. That's the first time it's happened tonight. The itch.
Yeah.
The itch.
It's just the temperature. It's just so dry. You know.
Brilliant, Frank and Anthony. Thank you, Barry.
Oh, thank you, Barry.
Mille grazie. And I've just got to say thank you, Anthony, for everything coming on tonight.
Thank you.
I've just got to thank Jason. To be honest, without Jason, I can't do it. Most importantly, I've got to thank Gap Patent Services. I can't find a slogan anyway. I really can't, but I'll do it. I'll do it justice tomorrow night, because Gap Patent Services sponsored it. It just comes up like magic. Gap Patent Service, please don't struggle. Get these people in. Get them in. Don't end up like me. Kind of decorating, ends up with a broken bloody neck. So get them in. They're great. Reasonable. Very reasonable. But if you're an NHS worker or elderly person, special discounts for you. Special discounts. And that's my sponsors.
Yeah.
And Christopher says, "Hi, Frank and Anthony and Jason and everyone. Great show again. Up the Reds. Football is alive and well with our lads. So don't forget, tomorrow night, join me, and I'll be drawing for the programme. Thank you. Thank you to Anthony. Thank you to Jason. And most importantly, thank you to you wonderful people and those incredible comments.
Wonderful comments.
Incredible.
And very kind.
Yeah, very kind comments. And I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you. Toscana, you're in the draw as well. There you go. Frank, the wife's gran, has a relationship with a Danish sailor, and Hans Useldorf, who was decorated by France. Oh, go away. That's good, isn't it? Hans Useldorf. Sounds German, that though, doesn't it? Danish, yeah. Danish, no.
Danish.
You're a bit later, aren't you, Darren? Look in tomorrow. I'm doing the draw for the programme. The programme. That one. So it'll be one way or the other tomorrow. And it's just for me to say thank you, people out there. And see you on Thursday, Anthony.
Yeah.
You carry on with the show with the two things that I was.
Look forward to listening to it, Frank.
I've got to answer this. Is that the fantasy? Yeah, Darrell, it's the fantasy one. I don't know who won it, but one of you are going to win it tomorrow. Your name's in the hat anyway. So, thank you so much, people. I've got to finish. Jason's got to go to bed because he's up early in the morning. He just, do you know what? You know, I was talking to him yesterday, you know, last night he rang me. He said, I haven't spoken to yourself for a while. So I said, okay. And he said, I've had an easy day today. I said, go away. He said, yeah. I said, oh, I said, just relaxing. He said, no, went around to my mum's, did a few jobs for her, came back and started doing the hall. And he's had an easy day. Oh, what a fella. That's our Jason for it. And on that wonderful note, I'll see you there Thursday, Anthony. Tune in tomorrow night, see who wins the fantasy.
Yeah, I will be watching to see you.
Your name's on it as well, you know, by the way. There's a
My
few.
name?
You know what I mean?
There's well more worthy fans there, Frank. You know, they'd be murdered if I won anything.
It's like when my grandson won the watch. And I thought, but they said no, it can't be fixed because they have to pick players and teams and whatever they do. I haven't a clue how it works, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he won it. He won. And that's it. So this, when pear-shaped the fantasy one for the Champions League. So, but it'll be one tomorrow. One way or the other. So I'll see you tomorrow, whoever's joining me tomorrow. I'll see you on Thursday, whoever be seeing me and Anthony about the history show. Should be good. And Friday is the conspiracy theory show. But it'll be the current affairs, really. And Saturday morning again for the film and TV review, where everything goes.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Good night, Frank. Good night, all. Thank you.